I'm Kevin Cole, and this is live on KEXP at home with TV Priest. And joining me right now, Charlie Drinkwater, vocalist for TV Priest. Welcome to KEXP.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great. Love the new album, Uppers. We'll talk about that. We're going to hear songs from it as well. But first, just wanted to give viewers a sense of where you are right now and then where the band recorded the session we're going to see.
Yeah, I'm just in North London at the moment, and we recorded the session in East London in a place called Hackney Wick, just around the corner from our little studio space.
Very cool. This is TV Priest live on KEXP at home. The track is Press Gang.
What's the color of this CMYK heaven? Like listening to the sea in a shell, I'll box in with knuckles bare, reading the world on your lap. As the press gang lets up, Fleet Street mirrors column inches. Well, here's the real story, fire. Once took a keen eye to nail that smile. Once took a keener eye to part stars and lovers. Well, this is a story about how the press gang went down fighting. Well, this is a story about how the press gang went down swinging. It's got limbs. It walks and it walks and it walks and it walks, runs and it runs and it runs. Then it stops. Then it stops. Press the paper in your hands. Went for a walk through an ink-stained land. Yo, you're better off running far. High praise indeed. It walks and it walks and it walks and it walks, runs and it runs and it runs, then it stops. Then it stops. It walks and it walks and it walks and it walks, runs and it runs and it runs. Then it stops. Then it stops. It walks and it walks and it walks and it walks, runs and it runs. Then it stops. Then it stops. It's a numbers game. I got a record of a dull day. Sat filling up a hard drive. The dark hours of getting lost in a machine. Oh, the sound of 1,000 muted guns. Well, all I can do is talk. Well, all I can do is talk. Well, I probably never heard an original fall. A numbers game. A dead phone book does a balancing act on a spinning plate. The screen is my half brother. Just another. When the desert is ground to dust, always steal what can't be won. Pablo said, and he's never you never saw it coming. All I can do is talk. Well, all I can do is talk. Well, I thought we're getting closer, but we're further apart. Live on an island, and in his day, there were seats on the train. You'd like to build a new island, push it out, float along, singing all those useless songs. Well, we're drifting out in modern ways. Well, we're drifting out in modern ways. Looking sideways from some new traffic sprung up, shining already obsolete. It was a sunset to remember as we crossed the Straits of Dover. You laughing and waving in your pin-strap, double-breasted so high. Me with my head in my hands. Well, we're drifting out in modern ways. Well, we're drifting out in modern ways. The sky is black sometimes. It's baby blue, don't fight it, don't run. This island will come. The sky is black sometimes. It's baby blue, don't fight it, don't run. This island will come. Come live on her island. And in her day, well, everyone spoke the same. Come live on her island.
It's TV Priest live on KEXP at home, recorded in a studio in Hackney Wick, London. You just heard 3 songs from the debut album on Sub Pop Records, Uppers, This Island, Slideshow, and Press Gang. Just a great set there. And Charlie, thank you for that. A little bit about the band. Now, you guys, TV Priest formed in late 2019, but you had known each other and grown up together as kids, but somehow had all gone separate ways. Tell me about getting back together and what that was like for you.
Yeah, man, it was. We've all kind of. I mean, I've known Alex, the guitarist, since I was like 6, and like the other lads since I was about 12, and we all kind of grew up together, playing music, being in bands. It's a bit weird. I've never played in a band with anyone other than these guys, so it's kind of like there's a lot of history. But yeah, we're all a bit older, like we're in our 30s and stuff, and I think we'd all kind of drifted apart in certain ways, like, you know, life just kind of took over, and we'd always kind of over the years get back together and get into practice rooms, and we'd do it every kind of 6 months, but it would just drift and things would drift. And yeah, so 2019 we just like I'd had my little boy recently, and we kind of made this decision where it's just like, let's just make an album. Like, we felt like, you know, there's that really cliche quote of like, everyone's got a book in them. We kind of felt like we had an album in us, and I suppose it gave us a purpose to like carve out a time and a space to see each other more than anything, and collaborate and create again. So that was the kind of genesis of the band. It started from this weirdly kind of pure, I suppose, place of just like wanting to play with each other. And we thought, you know, if we've got the album and that's what we do, and we just play it to like our friends and our loved ones and nothing else, at least we've done it. After 15 years of mucking around, we've done it.
Yeah, so you used creating an album as a goal to force yourselves in a way to get together.
Yeah, pretty much.
And just reconnect for the beauty of just engaging with music, making music again, for the joy of making music. Yeah,
that was it.
Do you think...
I mean, sorry, I was going to say, it could also be a damning indictment of our friendship. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, though, because I think that happens a lot. We drift apart from people we care about and love, you know, and sometimes it takes some sort of commitment to really reconnect, and reconnect to the things that really matter to us, you know. We all kind of get, you know, just sort of out there in the world doing our jobs, having families, whatever, and you just sort of lose connection. So I love that idea that you got together just really for the pure sake of friendship and bonding and making music, and an album came out of it.
Yeah, that was it, man. It sounds kind of weird and like really cliche in lots of ways, but the goal was as simple as that, really, was to like get together and just make something, even if it was just for ourselves.
Do you think the time apart as sort of young adults out there in the working world and stuff, and then coming back together impacted the mindset of how you work together as a band, and maybe the expectations you had?
Yeah, I think so. I think, one, I don't think we could have instilled the level of like emotion, or I don't feel like I would have had as many things to say as maybe a younger man without as many life experiences. I think that there was also like, you know, when you start a band when you're like 17 or something, you think you're going to be playing Wembley Stadium the next year, you know. There's not a level of, I wouldn't say realism, but like your expectation is that something may come from the music. And I think for so long you make for like maybe an imagined audience or for someone else, and it actually makes your music worse. And I think this was the first time for all of us where we were just like, let's just put all of that aside and just make something for ourselves, you know, and just make something that we feel happy with and comes from a personal position rather than a kind of like imagined position or something that, you know, we think someone might want to hear. So it was, I do think that time spent just being out in the world, being separate from each other, doing our own things, being creative in different ways was really, really important for us.
Yeah. The global pandemic has amplified a lot of issues in your country and our country and society as a whole. And a lot of that can be overwhelming. And one thing that I love about the songs on Uppers is it really addresses a lot of those problems and these cracks in our society without giving you a panic attack. It's a nice cathartic release, a nice venting. And I was wondering about how you approached writing songs and how much of this album was written during the actual pandemic.
None of it, actually. We finished, actually, do you know what? This is going to be really, a year today, we finished the last track, 16th of March. I remember distinctly. It's the last day I went into London for like my day job kind of thing. And I remember saying to Nick, like, he'd just finished the mix and he was like, there you go. And I was like, oh, great. You know, and I think we could sense something was up. But yeah, it was made, I suppose, kind of October 2019 to then really the bulk of it. Yeah, I think I'm glad you say that about it not giving you a panic attack, because a lot of this is, I think we were really conscious, I was really conscious of when we were writing and stuff, it being, a lot of the record's actually very inward. You know, it's about how I'm trying to deal with the world, you know, and how I'm not coping with things or finding things difficult. And that was kind of really where I wanted us to, like, that was the jump off point, really, rather than, it obviously comes across as quite an outward record because it's talking about a lot of that stuff, but really it's, a lot of it is about me trying to, like, be like, like, I don't know how to process being on my phone all the time, or dealing with a constant psychological onslaught of terrible news, or, you know, so that was where it came from.
You can be really preachy and outward, but you can also maybe have a similar effect by, just as you say, really trying to figure things out on your own, which is what I really like about the record too, because there's a lot of, sometimes I don't necessarily even know what the songs are about, but there's great fragments of lyrics that really set me off on thinking about things that apply to my own life, you know?
Thanks, man.
And it could have, I mean, sometimes it's very specific, like This Island. You talk about, well, I found joy, peace, and understanding. I found it in the comfort of my own home late at night, scrolling, and scrolling. We can all relate to doom scrolling and
yeah,
and the addictive nature of that, right? But yeah, I just love the lyrics and the fragments of visuals that you get. Now, it is remarkable that there's a song, Journal of a Plague Year, that was written pre-COVID-19.
Yeah, it's that teaches us to, like, muck around with history, really. that was, and I have to say that was a hard decision for us to include on the album as well. We wrote that song. Alex wrote most of that song. He'd read the Daniel Defoe book, Journal of a Plague Year, which is, I think, is a 16th century account of the plague in London. And really it was this kind of, like, exercise in being like, because we were interested in our city and how our city's progressed and how our relationship to it. So that was this, like, oh, wouldn't it be this kind of, like, interesting little kind of psycho-geographical, historical exercise to, like, transpose that time frame to, like, what if it happened now? And I think there was probably obviously something going on in our consciousness in, like, you know, probably news was coming out of China but, you know, it was very like theoretical, and then it happened and it was awful and horrible. And I think we really, I mean, I know for one, I really struggled with whether or not we should include that in the album. We didn't want it to feel like it was making light of a situation that's been so difficult for so many people, or being glib about it, or being throwaway. But ultimately with the record, we wanted it to be a snapshot of a time and a place, not just us, but also the world that we were living in. And, you know, I knew that some people would hear the record, so I was worried about it. But, you know, the song really addresses kind of failure of leadership and that kind of stuff, you know. And it was kind of saying, like, what would happen if people reacted in the same way that they did, you know, the people that are supposed to look after us reacted in the same way that they did in the, you know, in the 15th and 16th century, which was basically just, like, run away from it. And they did. So it kind of felt applicable to put on there, and I hope that people kind of maybe get the feeling and the tone of that, and don't find it, you know, glib or unwarranted or offensive even. You know, I think I wanted it to kind of speak of that experience, you know, when we looked back at it. But yeah,
that's the exact takeaway I had. The exact experience.
Thanks,
listening to it, just that it was a great, it was addressing the failure of leadership and with a certain anger, you know, and some of the lyrics, "Hey buddy, normalize this, you better dig that pit," you know, is intense, given what's happened, you know, and, but it's a release, and it's, it didn't feel glib at all. It felt like a real, honest assessment of the situation, and also a release of a certain amount of anger that we were all feeling about this new normal. And the fact that there's those lines, "normalize this" and "new normal" in the lyric, just were mind-blowing to me, because those are kind of relatively new phrases, like sort of COVID era phrases. That
we're not gonna read any more history books for the next record, like. The horrible Pandora's box.
and I love, another thing that's great about Uppers is the intensity of the record, and it's, you know, really brutal at times, but you've got these incredible resets. So after that song, Journal of a Plague Year, there's a song, History Week, which is this nice, beautiful, I don't know, nice, it's an instrumental that's kind of a palate cleanser. Really beautiful. So obviously that's another side of the band. It's also reflected in the song before this, Island, Powers of 10. At least the last couple minutes of the song had this beautiful droney guitar ambient piece. Is that something you guys see yourself exploring more of, those kind of sounds?
Yeah, I think so. I think, and it's not to say that like this record isn't, I think we wanted to include all of that, because I think this record was dealing with a very specific time in our lives, which was like a very frustrating, relatively angry, you know, and that's an easy emotion to sometimes run up the flagpole and signal to everyone. You know, it's very direct. It's you can communicate a lot of things by emoting anger, you know, and a lot of that record is very pure in that anger, but I'm also sometimes using it as a, you know, we're sometimes using it as a device to like bring someone in. But I think we're also really interested in terms of our songwriting and the things that we do, that it's like, you know, I don't want to just limit ourselves to that. You know, I don't want to just limit ourselves to being punk, and post-punk and hardcore will always be something that is me, and like, you know, like we can't necessarily shake sometimes, you know, but I don't want to limit myself to that as a musician. I don't want to feel like I have a formula that I have to stick to. I think, you know, I was reading something by Nick Cave, and he was saying, you know, someone wrote him a letter and said, you know, why do you keep making music? Why do you keep trying things? And he's like, well, because as an artist, you've got to believe that like the next thing you make is going to be the best thing you've ever made. And I think that's something for me, that those songs as well, and some of the songs later in the record, like Saintless, hint at something that like I didn't think we knew that we could kind of capture, or we had within us. And it's something that like makes me feel like very excited for like what's to come next, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of dimensions in the record, and it's certainly, you know, you have post-punk, hardcore influences, but it sounds, you sound very unique. And there's something going on in the UK, it seems, from afar. You know, you've got Idols, Fontaines DC, you've got Shame, you've got all these great rock bands, edgy, you know, you guys, but you're all different.
Thanks, man. That means a lot.
Do you feel like a sense of kinship? Do you feel like there's something going on? I know like nobody's been able to tour this past year, so it might be hard to feel a certain sense of solidarity.
100% do. Like even if I don't necessarily know these people, or, you know, but like, I don't think we, you know, I can't deny that like there is something happening, and there is people making this music again. I think as someone that's played this music on and off since I was 14 years old, like I don't think that I ever thought this scene or these people had gone away, but for some reason there seems to have been a crack open in the door, and people have taken it, you know, and it's permeating the mainstream more. And I think, you know, I'm so grateful to a lot of those bands like Shame and Fontaine's DC and Idols that like kick that door open for people like me to suddenly be like, this music that I've been playing forever that no one liked, you know, or these things that people told me weren't going to be, you know. I think we always knew there's a community of people that were part of that. So yeah, I mean, I think it's an incredible time for bands to, certainly in the UK, to be coming together and playing together. And, you know, I think that's just been the shame of the last year, is that like there's so many bands I want to meet, you know, so many bands that started at the same time as us, you know, that I want to meet, that like I want to talk to, you know. And that's another reason why you get in a band, is to kind of meet your peers and kind of find those communities. So something I'm looking forward to 100%.
Yeah, it's going to be glorious when that happens. Now, your situation is really unique because when you guys got back together in November of 2019, pre-pandemic, you've only been able to play one live gig.
Yeah.
And then everything got shut down, you know. And obviously you had plans to play live in 2020 and release the first couple singles. And so how does that feel? I mean, it must be crazy to suddenly sort of get signed to Sub Pop, have an album out, and not have had the opportunity to ramp up with a lot of live gigs.
Yeah, I mean, put it this way, I don't wear it as a badge of honor that we've only played one gig. But
it's kind of cool in a weird way.
yeah, it is in a weird way. Like, I mean, that's one of the other reasons like we wanted to play in a band together, was to play gigs as well. And like the one gig that we did play was literally to like our friends and to like our girlfriends and wives and that, because I don't think they believed that we were in a band, you know. So it wasn't like it was like anyone there who was like important, or I'm not saying that they're not important, but you know what I mean, important in some kind of weird career thing or something. So yeah, like, I mean, I can't wait. Like, I just cannot wait to do it. I also, you know, Sub Pop don't realise they've just signed an algorithmic post-punk outfit. I've just programmed this all on it. No, I'm joking.
The folks at Sub Pop are so great. We're so fortunate to have them here in our neighborhood in Seattle. How did that come to be?
I mean,
they just picked up the algorithm.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. We were really gaming the system. No.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the craziest thing. And it's just, I mean, it's something that I'm still very overwhelmed by, that a group of people with that caliber of knowledge and the history of that label to even, you know, for us to even be a footnote in that history is like, I mean, it's something that I don't think I will ever really kind of fully comprehend or process. But yeah, that was a really weird situation. I think there's two people in the UK that work for Sub Pop, and I think we had a spot play on a station over here called Six Music on one of our very first singles. We hadn't really done anything, you know. We still haven't really done anything, but but you know, I think one of these people's wives heard us on the radio, went in through to the kitchen to the person who worked there and said, I think you would like this band. The next day, I think they sent an email. Then they're like, we'd like to meet you. I go on a Zoom call. I think it's going to be like, you know, one intern or something. And it was like all of Sub Pop. And then they were like, we really like your record and we want to put it out. And it was just, I mean, I shut the laptop and I didn't know whether to like, I called the boys. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to cry or be sick or start laughing hysterically. It was like if you'd written it in a film, people would have been like, take that out of the script because that stuff doesn't happen. You know, it doesn't
work that way.
Yeah, it was really weird. I mean, it's something I'll never forget.
Man, it's beautiful. I love the story. I mean, I love the fact that you guys just got back together to reconnect, to make music. Sure, you wanted to do an album, but you're thinking, who cares if anybody hears it, but us, we're just going to do it. And I don't know, there's something pure about the intentions behind that. And then that's maybe how some of the best work gets done, because Uppers is an awesome record.
Thanks, dude. That's really kind. It's you know, it's it's weird to recount it to you. You know, it's hard to not be like there was like some master plan or something. I mean, it's so weird. I made some stuff with my friends, and we've done a session for you, and I'm talking to you on like, you know, it's crazy.
Well, hopefully it's inspiring for folks to just create and make music, and you never know what's going to happen, and just be true to yourself and see what happens out of that. So we're going to hear a couple more songs, and this next one is a cover. So I wanted you to just tell viewers you're covering Venus in Furs. Just tell us about why you picked that song, and maybe does that sort of exemplify what you guys do when you're just practicing? Like you just play a bunch of songs you love and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think as well for us, it was like we like Velvet. That record by the Velvet Underground, you know, is a very like formative, like, you know, it's a very formative record for us. I think it was like, you know, for me, getting into punk and post-punk actually came from a position of like, I remember seeing Stop Making Sense by Talking Heads when I was like 14, and that like set me on this gateway kind of drug where I just wanted to kind of like keep learning, and obviously then you start learning about the history of the music scene in New York, and that took me to like the New York Dolls, and then you go further back, and I think the Velvets for us as a group kind of exemplify like the use of dissonance is something that is so interesting in that record, especially in Venus in Furs, where you've just got this like, you know, constant scratchy drone from, you know, I think it's John Cale playing a violin that's kind of like detuned or something, and that's just always stuck with me, this kind of like how like that use of dissonance and that use of like space and sound can just be so affecting. So yeah, I kind of wanted to. I think when you guys suggested us we do a cover, like it kind of felt like this natural choice where it was like, you know, let's kind of play this thing, and also as well like the way that they play the Velvets is quite similar to like how we often start a lot of our songs, which are very like jam based, very rhythmic. You know, it's just playing over and over and over again, playing riffs, kind of getting yourself into a trance. So. So that was the reason why we went for that one.
Let's check this out. This is TV Priest covering Velvet Underground's Venus in Furs.
Shiny, shiny, shiny boots of leather, whiplash girl child in the dark, comes in bells, your servant don't forsake him, strike dear mistress and cure his heart. Downy Sims of street life fancies, taste the costumes she shall wear. Ermine furs adorn, imperious. Severin awaits you there. that dog does. And I'm through to the next round. Yes, I'm through to the next round. Chokes of paint color have painted my wall. And it's through to the next round. Yes, you're through. Smashed avocado pressed lightly across the bedroom window. Green and unloving, and I'm through to the next round. Yes, I'm through. It's all just decoration. It's all just decoration. Hey! Certain metal on a certain chest, a knot and a cross and a Sunday best, and I'm through to the next round. Yes, I'm through. My feature wall is upstanding. My craft credentials, real as good as new, as good as old, as good as fake. Did I see the TV adaptation of the latest book craze? A pox on you and a pox on them. It's all just decoration. It's all just decoration. I'm the coldest sack, 5 boys here, 5 more boys. I stare up at a sky of useless stars and never realized how very small everything was. How very small everything was. The crazy pavement ran red. Someone smashed the Sky Plus box over Big John's head. And I signed for my neighbor's parcel a lager can and a packet of Quavers, a face paler than a holy wafer, and I'm through to the next round. Yes, I'm through. It's all just decoration. It's all just decoration. It's all just decoration. It's all just decoration. But I've never seen a dog do what that dog does.
TV Priest live on KEXP at home, recorded in their studio. You just heard Decoration. You can find that on the debut album Uppers on Sub Pop Records, and covering the Velvet Underground's Venus and Furs right before that. Charlie Drinkwater's been joining me here on this session. Thank you so much, Charlie.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, man. It's been amazing.
Really looking forward to our new normal when bands can get back out on the road and play, and you can be here in Seattle with us. So assuming there's going to be shows and you're going to be hitting the road as soon as that's possible.
100%. We can't wait. We got to come and meet the Sub Pop family, you know?
That's right. That's right. Well, again, thanks tons, and congrats on a great record, and just look forward to seeing you guys live and what's next for TV Priest.
Thanks so much, dude. Thanks again for having me on.
You bet. It's live on KEXP at home. This has been TV Priest, and these sessions are made possible because of donations from listeners just like you. So thanks to everybody who's part of the KEXP community worldwide. Discover new music at kexp.org.